Well, we're in the land of great transformation. Urfa has almost become the heart of archaeological studies. The most important reason for this is the very meaningful data obtained recently on the early Neolithic and the settlement process. Of course, Göbeklitepe, which has been discovered in the middle of the 90s, comes to mind at first. This is basically because such monumental structures have not been encountered for a long time. The earliest examples we had known, such as the pyramids, were built around 2500 BC. We also knew some megaliths in Europe, such as Stonehenge. However, Göbeklitepe is a huge monumental complex built at least 6,000 years before them. Humans who built such great monumental structures about 11,000 years ago must have their reasons. People from all over the world is coming here to see Göbeklitepe. About 1 million people are expected to visit it in 2022. There is a reason for this. Göbeklitepe was included in the World Cultural Heritage List by UNESCO in 2018, and it fully deserves this title. Because, as everyone coming here wonders, Göbeklitepe has a lot to say about our common past. In fact, people have always been interested in history because they want to know where they come from in order to secure their present and future. This is actually one of the reasons for the increasing interest in Göbeklitepe. We are in the age of uncertainty. Neither our present nor our future seem safe. As the anxiety increases, people try to derive meanings from the distant past in order to position themselves safely in the universe. Yet, archaeology is a field of science that sheds light on the past using material findings. Many of its findings show that ancient people generated some very rationalistic solutions in their own circumstances. Therefore, what we really need to do is to try to understand why such a place was built under the conditions of those ages. Some 12,000 years ago, the world went through a very significant climatic change and the Holocene epoch started. In this period, very suitable conditions for human survival prevailed in some regions, such as the Fertile Crescent. For this reason, people started to gather in these regions. The inhabitants of Göbeklitepe were hunter-gatherers, so they actually settled down, but the hunter-gatherer lifestyle still continued. In fact, it will do so for a few thousand more years. The people who gathered here were actually taking advantage of the suitable conditions of the region. They were harvesting wild grains in the surrounding plains and hunting animals, gazelles in particular, in a very controlled manner by using the traps they built on migration routes. Therefore, they found a very fertile environment where they can survive throughout the year, which will be a very important step toward a settled life. Recent excavations have revealed that Göbeklitepe is actually a settlement, and this monumental structure stands right on the edge of that settlement. There are some buildings clustered around which may be called as dwellings. However, a close look at the monumental structure suggests that a maximum of 15 to 20 people can enter therein. So, even if this monumental structure belongs to this village, not everyone living in the village did have access into it. Only the privileged ones, that is to say, the elite could enter. Apparently, the society was slowly starting to become stratified. It shouldn't be a coincidence that there are settlements adorned with monumental architecture in this region. For tens of thousands of years, we lived in groups of an average of 35 individuals. When we started to establish first villages, our population exceeded 200. This must have created an incredible pressure within the society itself, because so many people were living together for the first time. This was the first time that so many dwellings were living together. The gathering and concentration of people also raised the risk of potential problems among different groups. Demand for using the same hunting and gathering grounds might be one reason for this. Yet, the problems must have been solved somehow, as we can see that the orders they established lasted for a significant period of time. So, how did they settle their disputes? Göbeklitepe-like structures actually give us a clue in this regard as well. It is possible to suggest that such monumental structures provided people with mechanisms and bases for making joint decisions and promoting conflict resolution. Probably one of the most important functions of these meeting points was to absorb possible conflicts and to discuss and ease possible problem areas. Perhaps the prominent people of different groups, the elites or the elders, were coming here. Conducting congregations accompanied by ceremonies, they must have developed measures to avoid conflicts, or they had some knowledge to resolve emerging conflicts. Their decisions must have been considered to the benefit of the whole society and therefore obeyed fully. Şanlıurfa Archaeology Museum is one of the most special museums in Turkey. It offers a unique opportunity to witness history and perhaps experience and feel those moments. This modeling in Şanlıurfa Archaeology Museum makes it easier for us to understand how people in Göbeklitepe lived and used it. People probably entered this structure, which was built under the ground, through such a passage. Considering it was roofed, this must be a dim but huge space. When you enter this area, the size of the pillars and the area itself were probably overwhelming. Yet you were here for a special purpose, that is to say, consistent with requirements of a stratified society that began to emerge. Stratification shows itself in architecture as well. Two pillars are obviously built differently from others. First, they too are higher than the others. This is surely because they serve as the central pillars that hold the roof. But on the other hand, the depictions on them show us that more importance was attached to them. The form of the hands, the belts, the loincloth, and even the posture of the hands holding the phallus all seem to demonstrate the two vital pillars are in fact the load-bearing structures. Therefore, even in this place where only privileges might enter, only some more special people had access to the inner circle marked by the two privileged pillars. So Göbeklitepe, a structure that belongs to egalitarian times, as is also seen from its circular architecture, is also a place where social stratification started. We are on the way to Karahantepe. Karahantepe is being excavated for the last 3 or 4 years. It has some very unique features of its own. This monumental complex lying on the edge of a settlement consists of 2 main sections. One of them is a place what we may call the pool structure. The so-called log structure right next to it is a much more remarkable one. There is no doubt that Göbeklitepe, once discovered in the mid-1990s, changed how we perceive the history. However, Karahantepe, which has been excavated since 2018, seems to have changed how we perceive Göbeklitepe. Because this huge gathering area shows us that a stratified society had almost been established. As you can see, there are places that we may call log structure. This 2-bench area is large enough to accommodate some 5 or 6 groups of people, so that maybe 12 to 13 people in total can enter these areas. It might be assumed that these people are at the center of the group and somehow led the group itself. One of the most interesting structures of Karahantepe is the pool structure. As you can see, there are phallus-shaped pillars in that. We immediately see a head that makes a kind of guidance for them. Its snake-shaped body also draws attention. Apparently, water or a similar liquid was flowing therein from this groove. So there is almost no doubt that some kind of ritual was performed here. In other words, we may say that a person who enters the structure from one end, for example, as a child, comes out from the other side as an adult, and perhaps earns the title of being a full member of the society in the presence of the attendants in the main gathering area connected through a narrow passage. Therefore, this must be a place where communal ceremonies that had been held since the Upper Paleolithic were somehow performed. The monumental structures in Karahantepe must be the public spheres of those ages, as constructing such huge structures would have been impossible without collective labor.
Что Göbeklitepe, так разузнать, в чем причина возведения так.
Excavaciones recientes han revelado que Göbeklitepe
Some more special people had access to the inner circle.
好吧，从人类开始定居的民族开始，在burada da
بالطبع يتبادر إلى الذهن في البداية المنطقة التي اكتشفناه في زمن الغموض وعدم اليقين الذي نمر به.
Yani yerleşim yan taraf aslında. Burası toplaşma alanı.
Göbeklitepe'nin hikayesini 6 dilde dinlemeye hazır mısınız?
Göbeklitepe, 12 bin yıl öncesi. Yerleşik yaşama geçen avcı toplayıcılar. Yeni koşullar ve adaptasyon süreci. Toplumsal düzenin yeniden inşası.
Buraya gelen herkesin de merak ettiği gibi hepimizin ortak geçmişine dair çok şey söylüyor Göbeklitepe.
Göbeklitepe 101'de.